The temperate forest.
As you can see in this map, the temperate forest occupies the east coast of the United States, some parts of South America, and it also occupies the majority of Europe, East Asia, and some parts of Australia. The climate of the temperate forest varies greatly based upon its location. In many southern temperate forests, the temperature is above freezing for the entire year. In many northern temperate forests, the temperature is below freezing for many months of the year. In all temperate forests, the weather varies greatly throughout the year. Temperate forests generally get about 75 to 150 centimeters of rainfall per year, although again it varies based upon the location. The rainfall is at its peak mainly during the summer months, as evidenced by this chart. First, we will show the organisms with the lowest trophic level on the food chain, the producers. Then, we will move on to the consumers. At the beginning of each food web is the sun. About 10% of the sun's energy is used by producers, or autotrophs. About 10% of the energy used by the autotrophs is used by heterotrophs.
The first plant we will look at is the dandelion. The dandelion is the most abundant flowering plant in the temperate forest. They are perennials, which means that they do not die at the end of each season.
Although they are seen as a pest by most gardeners and homeowners, dandelions are actually very fascinating plants. They are surprisingly a great source of nutrition and are very delicious. In many cultures, dandelions are not seen as weeds, but as a delicacy.
After the dandelion flowers, their yellow petals fall off and the flower turns gray. The seeds are blown away by the wind and more dandelions grow in other places.
Now we'll look at poison ivy. Poison ivy is a vine that needs other trees to grow upright. The plant's leaves are often shiny and reddish, and they are in groups of 3 leaves. It is well known for causing an itchy and irritating rash. The substance that causes the rash is called urushiol. When it is absorbed into your skin, it binds with proteins on the cell membrane of your skin cells. The van der Waals forces on the alkyl chain of the molecule changes the structure of the proteins on the cell membrane. The altered proteins elicit an autoimmune response, which causes inflammation. The name for the rash is urushiol-induced contact dermatitis. Because urushiol is a nonpolar molecule, water is ineffective at washing it off. If you use soap within minutes of contacting the plant, the rash can be prevented. The temperate forest is mostly dominated by 3 trees. In the northern temperate forests, pine trees are very common. Pine trees prefer cold weather, so they do not thrive in southern, warmer temperate forests. Pine trees do not lose their leaves in the winter. They also drop pine cones, which contain their seeds. Another tree that is common throughout the whole temperate forest is the maple tree. Maple trees do lose their leaves in the winter. Some species of maple trees give us maple syrup. Oak trees are another common tree in the temperate forest. Like maple trees, they lose their leaves in the winter. Their seeds are spread in the form of acorns. There are many examples of symbiotic relationships in the plant kingdom. The most well-known one is with flowers and bees. The flowers attract bees by providing them with nectar. When the bees get nectar from the flowers, they bring the flowers' pollen with them and spread it around to other flowers. This relationship is an example of mutualism because the bees get their nectar and the flowers get pollinated. Lichen is another example of a symbiotic relationship. It is the blue or green marks that often appear on rocks or trees. It is a combination of fungus, which provides protection, and photosynthetic cells, which provide nutrients. Lichen also enters into commensalism relationships with trees. The lichen attaches itself to the trees, allowing it access to places high up in the forest where it can have access to sunlight. The trees are not harmed or helped by the lichen. Because lichen does not need soil, they are often the pioneer species in places without soil. They are often one of the first steps in primary succession. Vines that grow on trees are parasites. The vines use trees to grow upright, but if the vines grow to be big enough, then they can strangle the tree and keep it from growing outwards.
There are many different kinds of birds in the temperate forest. One of the most common birds is the robin.
Robins are characterized by their bright orange belly and black body. They are omnivores because they eat both bugs and some plants. The main thing that they eat is worms. Robins are also known for making a very intricate nest, which can be seen here. Another bird that is common in the temperate forest is the Canada goose. These birds were once considered an endangered species, but thanks to conservation efforts, they are now very common across the country. Canada geese are mainly herbivores, although they can eat insects at times. Here we can see them eating grass, a staple in their diet.
Because Canada geese live in flocks, they can migrate long distances. As you can see in this chart, In the summer, they go as far north as Canada, but in the winter, they go as far south as Mexico.
Another omnivorous bird that lives in the temperate forest is the mallard. The one with the green head is the male, while the brown one is the female.
It lives in swampy areas.
One of the animals at the top of the food chain is the red fox. The red fox has few predators and is a predator to many other animals. It is mainly carnivorous and eats mostly small animals, such as rodents. However, it can eat berries if food is scarce. Female foxes are well known for making dens. They make their dens to raise their young, which they do for the first 7 months of the baby fox's life. The fox parents will typically raise litters of 1 to 10 fox pups. Foxes are not social animals. They hunt and live alone for most of the year. The only time they live with another fox is when they mate and raise children. After the baby foxes are mature, the parents separate and live alone again.
Organisms that we cannot see are often overlooked when studying ecology. Microscopic bacteria play an important role in the nitrogen cycle. They assist in denitrification and nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen is often the limiting resource for plants.
Other macroscopic decomposers and detritivores help recycle nutrients such as nitrogen. They are important because nitrogen is a limiting resource for many plants. If these decomposers were not part of the community, many plant populations would die.
For the past 100 years or so, humans have been drastically changing the environment. They have been spilling pollutants, such as greenhouse gases, into the environment, and they have been causing deforestation. The name for this change in an ecosystem is called ecological succession, or, more specifically, secondary succession. The best way for you to stop humans changing the environment is to buy renewable resources.
Much of the temperate forest is in urban or suburban areas and has been lost to deforestation. Humans are putting concrete everywhere and chopping down several acres for every house. Humans are greatly reducing the carrying capacity of the environment. Humans are destroying habitats every day, and it is greatly hurting biodiversity all around the world.
Biomagnification is causing poisonous substances, like mercury, that we put in the environment to occur in toxic levels in our food sources.
Abiotic factors, biotic factors, immigration rate, and emigration rate all affect the growth of a population. At first, the population growth resembles exponential growth, but eventually it becomes logistic growth, often fluctuating above and below the carrying capacity of the environment. Population densities tend to stabilize themselves over time.